Sometimes guys like me do our best thinking when we're lying in bed or sitting on the throne. Just gotta be honest here. And sometimes that best thinking equates to some harebrained idea like the one behind me. Because there are times in life where you need a cowboy hat and you got an itch, you got to scratch. And we're doing that now. So guys, this bright idea I had is using my dump trailer to remove a tree stump. And yes, there's a tree stump underneath there. Some of you guys have been watching this channel know that I made that stump bucket and are probably asking, why don't you use that? Well, I got other trees we're gonna use that on, and to be honest with you, this is kind of a big stump. I don't know if that little skid's here to do it, but between the two of them, I think we can.
Level with me. What are my chances?
Not good.
So here's the crazy idea. I'm thinking I will raise my dump trailer up in the dump position. In doing so, the back of the trailer will lower down to the ground. I will back over top of the tree. I'm going to put a strap underneath the tree, and that'll make sense in a minute, and hook it to the back of my dump trailer. And then I'm gonna lower my dump trailer down, and as I lower it down, the rear of the trailer should come up, putting upward pressure on the tree stump. Now, you're wondering, how's that gonna work if this is gravity fed? Well, that's a telescopic dump trailer. This might be the one scenario where a scissor lift trailer is better than a telescopic trailer, because scissor lifts actually pump down.
I'd say more like 1 out of a million.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
Now y'all tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, but in theory, all the upward pressure I get from the pump, I should get the same pulling pressure on the way down, because the pump is what's moving it. Well, we're gonna find out. Now y'all don't believe me, there's a tree under there. We're gonna use this to clear that so I can prove that to you and get you a better shot. But it's also for selfish reasons, because I don't want to die, because I know there's probably a snake under there that's gonna bite my hand. So far, weeds and trees, 1, me, 0. So the string trimmings in this blew out again. It's my fault. I let this go too far. I got lazy, but you can kind of see what we're working with there. About the size of my finger. That makes weeds and tree 2, me 0. This stump is, I don't know, it's just bigger than I remember it. And I thought I remember there being a giant hole underneath. Maybe there is, and maybe it's just kind of backfilled a little bit over time. Now I have an advantage, which I alluded to earlier. Obviously this is not totally in the ground like some of these other stumps I have. And that's because this was a leaner. Hurricane Milton made it fall, and right between these two trees here that are out of camera, I'll get you a shot here in a second. It was leaning on those two trees. So you can kind of see the stump, how much it was leaning. And then I pulled it, I cut it and made it fall that way. I'm gonna start here. Let's just start. Let's just get moving and we'll figure it out. I have about 1, maybe 0% confidence I'm gonna make a lot of progress right here. But we gotta start somewhere. All right, if you're a glass half full person, that worked as planned. I lowered it down and I raised it up and the tree came with it. If you're maybe more of a realist, it didn't work at all. Clearly. Well, that ended abruptly. We're gonna try again tomorrow. See that storm behind me? Look at that. Nasty. It's coming in and whipping. All my stuff was up over there underneath the trees. And I had to bail on my dump trailer hoping a tree doesn't fall on it tonight. Ugh.
Wow!
This storm knocked off my rocking chair. And in case you're wondering, yes, they're heavy. They're very heavy. There's nothing chintzy about these. Look at this craziness. The wind was whipping. I mean, can you see all that on the ground there? There. That entire, all those branches there. You can see them in the woods there. Look behind me. Look at all that mess. Look at that. The gusts were coming in. It was. I mean, I'm a native Floridian. I've been through a number of hurricanes. There was some serious wind whipping because at one point I could literally just see the tops of the trees behind you guys back here. Sorry for spinning you fast towards the lake. Just tops of the trees. I mean, kind of small potatoes, but I mean, look, there was enough wind that it knocked this gate over, and that has like no wind drag. But I do get a lot of questions about how these poor man's pole barns hold up. And you can see, despite all that chaos behind me, there they sit. They do pretty well, guys. They do pretty well in the storms. You know, it's the sustained winds. I've said that in this channel before. It's the sustained winds that will eventually take those out. A couple of gusts, it'll do all right. This is back towards the front of the house. Here's some more branches here, back there. I got a piece that fell on top of my picnic table there. Well, in typical fashion for us here in Florida, there's another storm coming in the afternoon. You see it behind me. Because I'm a glutton for punishment, I'm gonna try it. I gotta get this trailer hooked up because it's rented tomorrow anyway. So we gotta go fast. And in case this actually does work, I don't want it to be for any other reason than the hat. So we need to switch that just in case. By now, at least a few of you are thinking I got half a brain. But there are some of you who probably already know the outcome to this because maybe you've tried it or something similar, and I need you guys to be honest. I need you to tell some stories in the comments. Spam the comments. Tell me what you've tried, what worked, what didn't work. Let's have a laugh. But take a look. I have a few flaws in my plan that I'm kind of realizing as I do that. First, look at the risers under my dump trailer tires. In order for me to actually get enough lift, I had to get my trailer above the tree stump itself. And I didn't realize that at first, and this actually became a problem that I couldn't overcome. Just stick around and watch the video, okay? You gotta watch the whole thing. Now there's another problem happening, but you gotta look in the background of the video. Take a look at the back of my truck and how it's coming off the ground. So this theory is working. The dump trailer is pumping down, creating upward pressure. Problem, that trunk is so anchored, it's transferring to my truck, actually lifting the rear end of it off the ground. Couple observations, probably aren't jumping off at the camera. There is a ton of pressure on that right now and on that root. I can kind of hear it popping. But let me show you the other side. Let me show you how stuffed the trailer tire is. So this is pinned all the way up against the frame, and that's obviously because that's able to fall. But these tires, I run 80 PSI in them. That's a pretty good bulge there for the amount of pressure I have on it, which says a lot about these little plastic things that are rated for something that is far less than the pressure of that trailer and weight of that trailer. So I'm gonna pull forward a little bit and we'll see what happens. When I came back here, I was excited because I could see a lot more dirt under that root. And so I thought maybe the whole tree had moved a lot, but I just reviewed the footage, what you just watched, and the stump itself is like, it didn't even move. Maybe the root moved a little bit. I think it moved more than what the camera's showing, but the stump didn't move. That tap root is still anchoring hold. So I'm gonna stop here. I've been pretty dumb so far. I'm willing to keep trying, but this trailer's gotta get rented tomorrow. It's gotta go make a few bucks. So let me not break it today, and then I'll get the skid steer back out here. And I think I need to start trying to loosen up the ground all around it with the skid steer. So we'll put that stump bucket to work. Okay, where there's a will, there's a way. And perhaps something broken. Hopefully not. Now I'm still wearing that cowboy hat because I'm trying to get the hat a win here, boys. I want this tree stump to come out while I'm wearing that hat. Now for those of you who saw the video of me making the stump bucket, you saw me take out a little wimpy tree, but I had to get a victory. But then you saw me bang it up against a stump that's in the ground. I didn't get very far. In fact, some of y'all had some comments to let me know about that. But this is probably the first time I'm truly working the stump bucket. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm really just figuring this out as I go. I'm just trying to stab it in the ground, loosen the ground, and then I kind of realized I was digging some holes that were kind of becoming booby traps, and so then I kind of realized maybe I needed to soften the landing, almost building a ramp, like a truck well, down into it for the skid steer to be able to back out. So I had to work the angle a little bit with the stump bucket, and it was doing all of that really well. Now, going back to my video of me making that stump bucket, a number of you guys had some great comments about creating a fulcrum underneath it, like a pivot point, stating that the machine can create more upward pressure by actually pushing down and pivoting on that fulcrum. Obviously, I haven't put that on here yet, and it's not because I doubt what you're saying. In fact, I agree with it. I think it's probably gonna improve the way this works. For now, I just wanted to work it as is. Honestly, see if it would even hold up. See if my welds would hold up. And it's good. You'll see. We actually do break some sizable roots, and well, we'll stick around and we'll see if it actually gets the stump out. So if one thing's clear, the dump trailer wasn't gonna do it. I think my little mini skid steer is a little bit like bringing a knife to a gunfight for a tree this size. And you can see it was ripping up some roots pretty good, and it was doing that without bending my my homemade stump bucket. So that's pretty good. I was feeling good about that. And you know, guys, I think like anything, you know, it depends how much skinny pedal you put down whether something will break or not. And actually, what I'm doing here, well, it's a lot of the same thing. You know, how much skinny pedal are you going to put down? And if it's not too much, you'll end up, you know, not doing any damage. Now, I know some of you guys who are smart and who watch things like Matt's Off-Road are going to say, hey, buddy, that's just a regular tow hitch. That's not meant for snatching. And you're right. That's a 17,000 pound rated hitch. This is a 5,400 pound truck. And this is a big bubble rope, so it's like a rubber band. If you haven't used any of these Kinetic ropes, they are amazing. They are as advertised, okay? This one's by Factor 55. I highly, highly recommend you keep one in your toolbox, so to speak. But I'm gonna first just even put some tension on this tree, just to see if I've got any movement whatsoever. I got so much darn dirt built up right there. I'm blind. I can't see anything. I don't think I'm worse off than I was before because I've disturbed a lot of soil, hopefully loosen it. I can't see anything. So I can pretty much guarantee, knowing my personality and the fact that I got this cowboy hat on, probably not going to stop with just a dead pole. Probably going to end up bumping this a little bit, but don't get your hopes up. No rear axles are flying out on this one. This is my daily. Well, it's hard to tell I did anything. You guys might be able to tell. In fact, let me check your view. Now, good rule is never ever run over the rope. And the best you can, leave it to where you know it's gonna uncoil. There we go, just like that. That moved just a hair. I know what some of you guys are saying. Send it. But you're not gonna buy me a new truck. Guys, there's just not enough horsepower in this cowboy hat, I don't think. And I'm trying to exercise some of this wisdom in my beard, the gray that is, and not break my truck. Believe me, there's part of me that just wants to just go. But I'm reviewing that footage, and it's just like barely moving. You know, it's barely moving. In fact, I don't think the trunk itself is really moving at all, and which is crazy. It's crazy if you think about it. Now, this is a water oak. I don't know much about their root system, but clearly they run a pretty long ways. I mean, when they tip over, I mean, their root spread, whatever you want to call that. I mean, it's huge, huge. But even after a year sitting like that in the ground, that tap root or whatever those main roots that are down there are they're still well intact. In fact, there's one I kept slamming into right under my foot here. If you look closely at the eagle eyes, you'll see it on some of that time lapse where it was rearing its head. Of course, it's buried again now, and it was every bit of this wide and this tall. And you could tell that was still a main part of, or one of the main roots still connected to that trunk. So, you know, as I'm working it, part of me was just like, okay, this is just practice to use my skid steer and my stump bucket, which, you know, I mean, I think if you bring the right weapon to the right fight, I mean, these are some of the roots it was breaking up. I mean, that's a pretty good sized root, guys. I mean, look, compared to my hand. So, you know, every tool has its place. Every tool, you know, is built for something. And there's some much smaller trees than this and that stump bucket I think could work on. Hey, listen now, you guys, some of you guys had watched my video where I made that and I showcased it for the first time, and I talked about it. A viewer said it ain't gonna last. Well, I mean, I was putting pretty good pressure on it, enough to break some of those roots, and you know, thankfully all my welds are intact. Nothing's bent, no obvious signs of distress. Checked all the welds on my skid steer, the arms, no stress cracks there, which that might just be me getting lucky, because there are plenty of folks who have posted pictures on Facebook on some of those groups where they've had cracks in those arms from putting, you know, too much stress on them. Now, again, I go back to the comment I made earlier about just know when to lay off the skinny pedal. It's hard to tell in the time lapse, but when I was working it, you know, I could feel the rear end of the skid steer starting to come up. And that rear end's coming up with 220 pounds of counterweight and me at 210. So, you know, you just back off. You just back off, or you just kind of work it a little bit. I will say this, I think the teeth I put in my stump bucket, I think they're too shallow, or maybe too close together, or both. So if you're thinking about designing one yourself, make your teeth further apart, because what I noticed was happening is just like an all-terrain tire. When you get in the dirt, they pack full, right? The tread lugs pack full, and you lose traction. I was noticing that those teeth were getting packed full of dirt. So I'm imagining that as they're trying to work underneath the roots, they're really just not doing the cutting that they could, as if they were wider and that dirt would just fall out. So if you're thinking about doing one, I would say maybe a little bit deeper teeth, and certainly further apart, probably allow that dirt to clear out of there faster. I'm sitting here holding my soft shackle, guys. If you've been watching this channel a while, you've seen me use these for a dozen things, including what they're intended for, which is what we did today. These are on Amazon. They're not name brand. I think I paid $16 for these. They're rated for 50-something thousand pounds. You get 2 of them. I don't know what they cost today, but very affordable. I'll put a link to them in the description. They're just wonderful to have around, and they're light, and they're not dangerous, right? They're not like the metal D-rings that will fly back and hit somebody, which, you know, as far as how I was using that strap, that Kinetic rope, I mean, you really should have a designated receiver, or I'm sorry, it's kind of like a tow hitch. You've seen, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on the name of them, but it's like a tow hitch, but it's as if you took the ball out. There's just a hole, and you can slip your soft shackle like this through it, and then you connect your Kinetic rope through it. And it is designed to handle those high impacts. So the only reason why I even considered doing that is because I did not have a vehicle behind me, right? I mean, if for some reason that ball snapped and went that way off that Kinetic rope, it was going to fly into the woods, fly into that tree stump. It wasn't going to hit another person. Nobody was back here. So just keep that in mind. I mean, it's rare, but it happens. It does happen. Those tow hitches are meant for dead pulling heavyweight, not high impact. Boom, you know, like a snatch from something like that. So guys, this is a fail. This is a fail, but a fail is not without value, right? I think there's still value we learned here, which is don't take these things lightly. In fact, check out my friend Brock at Rock Hill Farms. If you don't know that channel, guy's got an awesome channel, super knowledgeable about tractors, and he's removed. He's got I don't know if he has a skid steer anymore, but he's got a ton of videos on his John Deere skid steer. I do know that he's got some mini excavators. He's had those over time, but he's got a few different stump removal videos that are great, including one where he's digging up a big old stump just like this. But then he's got some other creative ones where you pour salt into it and sort of let salt rot it out. I think he's got one where he tried to burn out the stump. Anyway, I'll put some links down there to his videos. Check out Brock. Tell him I said hello. He's a buddy and does a great job, and he's helped me a lot on this channel too. So, you know, do that for me. That would be a wonderful thank you. Guys, think about subscribing. Definitely like this video, even though it was a fail. I tried. We're not done with this yet. I just got to get a bigger weapon. So we'll do that some other time. Guys, spend time with your creator. He loves you. He wants to hear from you. We'll see you on the next one. Oh, and watch one of these videos. Thanks. Bye.